useful then to sort of say, okay, I promised at the start that we talk about why this moment doesn't have to be a step down the long descent into oblivion and into universal basic income and the like, but instead can actually be this same notion of skill change can actually be an opportunity for workers, for employers, and for communities to do better. This is some work that we did at the Schultz Family Foundation looking at opportunity youth and what happens to them over time, and found that a high percentage of them actually do manage to move up, which is very encouraging. And now some more work that we're collaborating on with Joe and on exactly how does that happen. But I think it's in itself noting that people actually move up, who a lot of people write off, is very interesting. And so the question becomes, how does it happen? We have done some earlier work looking at retail workers. In some ways, very emblematic of people who often are sort of stuck in jobs that are the sort of low-wage treadmill. And found that, in fact, people who are able to rise out of retail jobs are much less likely to be in automatable jobs. They're much less likely, they're significantly more likely to have actually gotten a big boost in pay, by which we mean not like, 50 cents an hour, but at least 30% more than they were making. And so the question is, you look at those transition paths, it's really often fascinating to see some of the ones that emerge. Some of them are, pretty well trodden. I highlighted here retail to tech, which seems totally far-fetched. I think we first saw that, a couple percent of retail workers wind up in tech. I used to sort of assume that either A, we've miscoded something, which, in our line of work happens, or, we said, okay, well, maybe this is people who are working their way through school. And actually what it looked like, and here's why I wanted to share this example, because actually what it looked like more often was, I'm working at Best Buy and I'm selling consumer electronics, and I get a little bit of training, and now I'm setting up people's consumer electronics, what they call the Big Geek Squad. And now I get a little bit more training. I'm going to get A+ certified and actually move to a tech help desk job, just sort of this golden gateway into the landscape of tech opportunity, much more so than all the tech boot camps and the like. It's a very different model of transition, and it's a skill to skill model of transition. And we tend to have these sort of mental model of, okay, how do we take the opportunity youth and train them for cybersecurity jobs? And there's some fabulous programs that are doing heroes work, making that happen in small batches. But most people don't leap tall buildings in a single bound. Most people have to actually move step by step. And step by step is a lot more feasible. And step by step really is not step by step, it's skill by skill. The problem is that most of our reskilling infrastructure is about step to step. That's it, one step. But if you want to be able to support somebody, you want to be able to support somebody as they move into the job at Best Buy, as they move from the retail floor job to the Geek Squad job to the help desk job, each step along the way accruing skills. One of the keys to understanding and to plotting those paths is realizing a core concept that I don't think is alien to too many people on this call. It's that whole buy low, sell high thing. Learning is a unique opportunity that for people to arbitrage in themselves, or for companies, frankly, to arbitrage in their own workforces. If I am making $51,000 as a graphic designer, or I'm paying someone $51,000 as a graphic designer, and I teach them interaction design, or I learn interaction design, a $68,000 a year job, right? It didn't cost $16,000 to learn interaction design. It doesn't need to. It's a fairly simple step. And so this is an opportunity to figure out where the arbitrage opportunities are. Arbitrage both in terms of pay, but also in terms of availability. And very important as we think about transitions, be they pandemic driven, be they automation displacement driven. What are the sets of roles, what are the sets of opportunities that are skill adjacent to where someone is? So for example, in the pandemic, there was a 61% decline in demand for data entry clerks, which is a kind of cruddy job, making only $27,000 a year. Medical billers face much less of a decline. And by the way, this was early in pandemic data. I think it's now actually mostly recovered. And that's a job that pays $6,000 a year more. There's a specific set of skills that affects that transition. How do you, instead of training somebody up from scratch, build on the skills that they already have and make the retraining, the reskilling, the upskilling more efficient and faster so that you're keeping people out of the workforce less? Here's some work from some researchers in our data from the Federal Reserve branches in Cleveland and Philly, looking at how people move to what they call opportunity occupations, so sub-BA jobs that pay well, pay above the national median wage. And you can see there are certain sets of skills that are really effective at unlocking those transitions. And so if we focus on those, we can actually affect a great deal more mobility. The key is figuring out what are the sets of skills that you focus on. And in every domain, there's certain sets of skills that put workers in the catbird seat. And this is a pretty simple framework that we developed around sort of thinking that how hard to fill our various jobs and how fast do we project that they're going to grow. And here I purposely picked the world of data science because at some level, like the whole thing's growing super fast, right? But even in the world of data science, there's some sets of jobs and some sets of skills that are growing fast and some that, are a little less so. And so you focus on the sets of skills that are growing fast, and then focus on the sets of jobs that represent the greatest opportunity. Here on the left is work again from that Fed report looking at opportunity occupations. And then on the right, work that we've done with Jobs for the Future, doing a typology of middle skill employment, where we said, look, there's some kinds of middle skill jobs that provide, when you actually study them, as opposed to listening to their industry boosters, which provide stability and good pay. There's some that actually provide a lot of mobility, and you can see people moving up a lot. And there's some that actually provide neither. And, where are they? Which are they? When we can focus in on the ones that either provide mobility or stability, again, it provides another frame for prioritizing which ones make sense.